What is going on, Lucid fans? Welcome back to Fanatic Journey. Hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend thus far. I want to start off by talking about Michael Burry though, and what he recently said about Lucid and a lot of other growth stocks, and ultimately what that means for us as investors. And outside of that though, it is officially August the 2nd, so Q3 numbers are now locked in. So I want to give you a good overview of what we might expect from the Q3 earnings as far as delivery numbers. Before I get into any of that though, making sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe is always greatly appreciated. With that, let's get right to it. So there was a poll on Twitter done by Let's Go Lucid, ultimately saying that there was 1,405 vehicles produced in the first half of 2022, 1,039 delivered, first half, second half, and obviously we all want to know what the third one kind of entails. So based on everyone and the poll, it does look like majority of you do feel that 3,000 and above is where we might be at. So I'm going to do a little bit more math afterwards and just put that in perspective, but based on Bear's latest flyovers, it does seem to be fairly accurate. So last couple of flyovers all showed a huge push as far as deliveries and production and all that fun stuff. Even more so on the last one, there was 11 car haulers. So clearly they're trying to get the last numbers out there within that Q3 deadline. So let me know your thoughts on that. Also keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own due diligence at the end of the day. These videos are only for entertainment purposes, so make sure you guys do your own due diligence. But there is one thing that I always have brought up in several videos, and it's from the Q2 earnings. And I think that if we are going to make a very accurate prediction as far as delivery numbers, we need to factor this in. So during the Q2 earnings, there's one thing that was said when they refer to basically the issue that they were dealing with. But I do believe that we've identified the primary bottlenecks and have already taken the steps to begin to remedy the situation. Once again, I don't know if I just read between the lines too much or whatever it is. That's typically what I like to do. But the fact that Peter did say begin, that goes to show that on August 3rd, this is when their earnings were, that it wasn't fixed. Plain and simple, but for argument's sake, obviously we don't know technically when it was done, and for number purposes and in this video, I'm going to factor in and assume on August the 3rd that this issue was fixed. So leading up to this earnings, it was fair to say that we were doing roughly about 5 to 10 vehicles per day. Outside of that though, we're more so the 40 to 50 kind of in line with the rumor. So definitely they really did ramp up production pretty significantly in fact, but just for argument's sake and math purposes, I'm going to use 5 to 10. So a couple things, I'm going to open up my handy dandy calculator as you guys can see. So basically from July the 1st to August the 3rd, which was their Q2 earnings, there's 33 days. So I don't need to do any math, but in case of you guys out there, so 33, let's say for argument's sake 10. So 330 vehicles done within this time frame. And then outside of that though, August the 3rd to September the 30th, so that's the rest of the Q3, is 58 days. So what we want to do is 58 days times by, for argument's sake, like I said, more so between the 40 to 50. So just giving the benefit of the doubt, 50. So we did 2,900 vehicles, which is very good. And if you add the extra 330, that gives us a total of 3,230. So hopefully, going back to this poll, we might be above the 3,000. So hopefully, again, if you couple that with the additional 1,039 that we did do in the first half, that gives us a grand total of 4,269. And if we are going to hit our goal, that goes to show that ultimately we just need to do 1,731 vehicles in Q4. So that is very, very attainable. So let me know your thoughts on all of that fun stuff in the comments below. Personally, I think that their earnings are going to be very good and hopefully a nice surprise. So again, let me know your thoughts on that. But when it comes to it though, Michael Burry, which again, he's a little bit more of a negative individual out there, but based on what he's been predicting, it's been slowly coming in play. Obviously, he's been predicting this for quite some time, but he's recently said something that has sparked some concern among some individuals. So just going to share that with you. So he talks on basically 218 primary stocks listings under the US that have a market cap of over 1 billion and a beta less than negative 100 million. So what does that mean? Ultimately, some companies are going to go down to zero. So that in the grand scheme of things is very scary. So there's basically 218 companies out there that might go down to zero if there is a recession as big as he's predicting. And so what does that mean for Lucid though, Lucid is listed under this list right here, number 16. So in reality though, there's a lot of big market cap companies such as even Boeing and a lot of ones that are just suffering right now that meet that criteria. So let me know your thoughts. Do you think he's just more so doom and gloom? Do you think that there is a likelihood of Lucid eventually going down to zero if there is a epic? And when I talk on recession, I know hypothetically we are in a recession, but when I'm talking about epic recession, I think a lot of people are thinking 2008 worse, so possibly even 60% down on where we are at. So let me know your thoughts on all of that fun stuff in the comments below. And funny enough though, we're in a little bit more of an interesting time period right now. So we went through this kind of transition and this backwards market at the beginning of 2022 when there was so much fear about the Fed. So any good news that did come out in the market, then it would be seen as a negative, that the Feds would have a little bit more ammunition to raise rates higher and faster. And technically any negative news was seen as optimism, obviously that the Feds would have less ammunition. And more so this week was one of those backwards weeks. So in reality it's pretty stagnant news except for Thursday and Friday. That's when we had GDP numbers, jobless claims, and PCE. So in reality, when it came down to GDP, it came in line with the forecast, but still negative. So in this week itself, any negative news was even more negative. Any positive news was seen as negative, that the Feds have ammunition. So jobless claims was a little bit lower, so the Feds had ammunition. That's how the market saw it. GDP numbers were negative, so the market saw that over and above as a negative. PCE was higher than expected, so again, a little bit more of a negative. So we're in a very interesting time period for the market that, like I've been saying and I have said numerous times, I've been investing since 2009. This whole year has been just backwards. It's no rhyme, no reason. It's just very feared about the Feds. And I think that the market never needs to get to that stage where it's so fearful of what the Feds may or may not do. So let me know your thoughts on that. But generally looking at the actual chart, I know we've gone down quite a lot, and I've said this a couple times in the past as well, but we're holding up very well. So we did close out at 1397, down 1.5%, a little bit more of a fear tapering off at the end of the day. Right now, stochastic is very oversold at 23, no defined trend right now, but based on momentum you can see a number of retail investors have just been getting out basically since Thursday. So GDP really feared, got a lot of fear back into the market, so kind of sucks in the grand scheme of things. RSI is at 38, so very low in that regard. On the actual chart, lower percentile of the Bollinger Band, so in reality I think we do have and have been holding very strong support compared to a lot of other growth stocks. So when it comes to it though, where are we at with the Fibonacci? So like I said, 1397, we are still between the S2 and the S1. So like I said, a lot of other growth stocks have been completely slammed. So most of them are actually within the S3 to the S2. So I know that's not really reassuring to a lot of investors that have just seen Lucid go down basically from 18 down to almost 14 in the matter of a couple of weeks. But we're actually doing fairly well considering the other growth stocks out there. So take that how you see that in the grand scheme of things. But 1341 is a point to watch for this week. That is the S2. If we do break below that, then anticipate range bound between 1122 and 1341. So again, hopefully everyone's having an amazing weekend. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe, as always greatly appreciated. If you do like my channel and support the growth, take a look at my memberships, link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's make a lot of money on Lucid.